All right, let's stand for the pledge. Get this part started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Vicki, roll call, please.
Mayor Justin Hamilton.
Present.
Mayor Kirkland Scott Stady.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Vaughn.
Present.
Councilmember Tex Thomas. Present. Councilmember John Schwartz.
Present.
Councilmember Jim Schroeder.
Present.
We have a full quorum.
There we go. All right, let's get right into it, into item B, public hearing, items considered. Consider testimony and act upon a request by Roger Hollander, owner of the property located at 410 North Summit Ridge Drive, section 3-2, lot 704, for a variance to the Village of Point Venture zoning ordinance, chapter 51152B4, yard requirements, pertaining to maximum lot coverage. Let's see, do we have any public comment? Okay, is that a Bill Roney or is that marked out? Is that, Bill, is that marked out or are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Okay, you're up first.
I don't think I need this, but yeah, since y'all did not put out who y'all were gonna put in as an attorney or his background, I just want to make a statement. If he is the attorney for anything around here, then it's against the law to appoint him. Because it'll eliminate our.
You may want to speak again in a minute. This is about the public hearing for the property.
I don't want to talk about that.
We'll have a chance in a minute to talk again.
How about I call you back up when we do our regular meeting?
Yes,
Well,
right after this item, we'll have another public comment section.
You miss that?
Yes.
Okay.
If you don't mind, if you're
That's
okay,
fine.
come back up in a minute. Shelley Molina.
Thank you for taking some time. Something that has come to my attention, and actually I'm glad to see Caroline here because she's going to be the one that can answer it because I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on TV. But it looks to me like in doing some deep dives that there's a possibility that our zoning ordinance is in direct conflict with local government code 245 because of vesting and grandfather clause, because what that local government code says, and it was enacted to basically allow developments to develop out without rules changing in the middle of the game. Y'all know we're not a normal area. We kind of did our zoning backwards. We put our zoning in place in a fully developed community. But one of the things that it talks about in there, and once again, like I said, I'm not an attorney, don't play one on TV, but it talks about what is exempted in that. So first of all, what makes it qualified? It qualifies when a subdivision plat has been recorded in a municipality. Well, we didn't exist, but our subdivision plats were recorded in Travis in 72, 73, 74. They were all recorded in Travis County with the covenants and restrictions and roads and everything. So it says that that's when the start of the run is, as far as grandfathering and vesting. And one of the things it says that you cannot do is you are not allowed to exemptions. Municipal zoning regulations that do not affect, so this is an exemption, so it's a double negative. Love how you guys talk, Caroline. Do not affect landscaping or tree preservation, open space or park dedication, property classifications, lot size, lot dimensions, lot coverage, or building size. So before we continue down variance after variance, that's something I would love for you guys to look into.
Kristen Sokola.
17th or April 24th. These meetings were posted with advance notice, included citizens' comment, and had action items. Therefore, they should be considered regular meetings, not special meetings, called by the mayor or emergency meetings. Given this, shouldn't John remove himself from the council table and sit in the audience with the rest of us? Any action he may take tonight could potentially be considered null and void. Now, regarding the actual variance request for 410 Summit. In March, when it was originally presented to the council with only 3 council members, I distributed a simple one-page variance request checklist with questions based on the village ordinances. The primary criteria for a variance should be only approved when the property has a hardship. In March, the homeowner stated that they had already poured the concrete slab, and the expense of breaking up and removing it constituted a hardship. However, Chapter 7, Section 1112, 121B, 1C, 14, whatever, of the zoning ordinance states that special conditions and circumstances must not result in the actions of the applicant. So pouring your own concrete and then having to break it up, that's a self-imposed hardship. Has anyone actually verified the measurements that were and the percentages that were presented? The paperwork that I reviewed indicated approximately 49.9% lot coverage. However, when I checked with TCAD and did the calculations, I found it to be 56.64%. The difference, though not huge, is significant enough to question the accuracy of the numbers presented. And if approved, should there be a drainage study required? I truly do sympathize with the applicant. At the last meeting, they stated they had believed they had received all the proper approvals before starting the pour. This situation raises concerns about where the system might have failed. Did the issue begin when the village decided to no longer support the ACC? In closing, I'd like to offer my assistance in reviewing lot coverage calculations with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. And just make sure that's all that we've got on the list for public hearing. Okay, council, want to open that up for discussion? Need a motion to discuss. Make a motion. A second. I'm sure you all reviewed the plans, reviewed the numbers, reviewed what was submitted. Are you all ready to vote, or would you like to discuss?
I mean, I remember, Scott, you said you took a look at it, wasn't any issues with the drainage. Anything else?
No, same thing as we discussed last time. Saw the red tag on the door. Knew I was on council. I looked at it. Doesn't, obviously none of his neighbors are here in defense, saying they want it gone. Does not look like an issue. It drains backwards into
The ravine area, right?
Anyone else?
I do have some questions.
Okay.
When I review the ordinance, our ordinance, the section 1.1.121D, it covers several things. One, that the village acting as Board of Adjustment shall not waive or reduce such requirements merely for the purpose of granting an advantage or convenience. And when I read through the criteria, one is, do special circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land? And the answer is no. That literal interpretation would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district? No. That special circumstances or conditions were not a result of actions of the applicant. They were a result of actions of the applicant because he poured the concrete without the permit. And then so in other words, the criteria that we have to measure this against, his variance request doesn't really meet that criteria. And so I don't know how we can approve a variance when it doesn't really follow what our guidelines are for us as the Board of Adjustments issuing a variance towards that. It also says that the village acting as the Board of Adjustment shall have no authority to change any provisions of this chapter in its jurisdiction and limited to hardship and borderline cases which may arise from time to time. So again, when I review this, I don't see how we can approve the variance because it doesn't meet any of the criteria that allows us to approve the variance.
So a new guy comes into the neighborhood, he gets ACC approval, he moves forward with the work, and can he get everything done? Now because of the 6% variance addition, maybe 7, could be 5, but minimal, with no existing neighbors next to him complaining about it, we're going to ask the guy to tear up a concrete pad and a pergola.
There's no
The
pergola.
pergola, he stopped as soon as.
Oh, the pergola's not
He
on.
stopped everything.
Where this was when y'all heard it.
Yes.
And I would also like
It's
to
the same way.
understand where the breakdown occurs. Because my understanding is he did or didn't get ACC approval.
He did.
He did.
That was stated.
Okay,
ACC is not approved based on maximum lot.
Right, but no one gave him an understanding of his lot coverage maximum.
No, but they.
I mean, I get it.
No, but they knew, the very next day, the plans were brought in as approved, and then we paid for a permit. We're told, no, you can't do that yet, you have to turn in a full set of plans, you have to turn in books, and we can't take your money for a permit because you're not ready for a permit yet. But they did it anyway.
So again, and when again you read the criteria, it doesn't fit any of the criteria. So.
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
also, is there a question whether or not one of the members should be at the table for this
Yeah,
because of the
we're,
question? I mean, again, it affects the validity of any decision that we make. So I don't know how we proceed forward with that either.
Mayor, if I can jump
I was
in.
just going to ask.
yes, ma'am.
Please.
I recognize there's been this issue. I've recommended that it be put on an upcoming agenda that can be noticed. It was brought to my attention.
Which issue?
The issue of the council member sitting at the table.
Okay.
And I can rest assured that all council members may sit and vote on this particular matter and the matters of the rest of this agenda, even in the event that the council member's seat was vacated by application of law. The Texas Constitution provides something called hold whoever status, which means a council member or other elected office continues to serve until such time that their replacement is qualified, which means they're appointed or elected in this form.
So that
for the
solves that
purposes
question.
of this vote, and we would make it on this.
Okay.
Immediately
Thank you.
vacated.
Is it for, sorry.
For the lot coverage that Shelley Molina brought up, with the county's ruling trump ours.
So what she brought up was Chapter 245, which provides for vesting. No lots here in the village had any zoning regulations until such time as the village adopted those regulations. Any structures and uses that were in place at the time of that adoption were in not in conformance with the new zoning ordinance are considered non-conforming, which means if you had let's just talk about the example, if you had a structure in place that exceeded the lot coverage requirements and it had that the day before zoning was adopted, they would vest until such time as they lose their non-conforming status.
So they're grandfathered. Anyone already in place is grandfathered.
Right.
But there's also Halsell versus the city of Talking that talks about, I mean, it talks about subdivisions and it talks about the difference between construction of individual homes.
So any add-on that is grandfathered into the existing?
I don't know.
No, that would not be the case. If that structure that I was talking about earlier loses its non-conforming status, if it is completely destroyed or partially destroyed.
Or they come back to add something else.
Right. And so an undeveloped lot, and I'm not certain about the history of this particular lot, but an undeveloped lot or a lot that had less than the lot coverage requirement would be prohibited from exceeding that lot coverage requirement.
So they would be under the new guidelines, any new development. Correct.
But again, anyone who does have that existing in place, if you do have any existing, and there might be many.
Prior to 2020, when all this passed.
So if we don't have anything further, I think, I mean, it's pretty simple to state that